Now there's so much to learn in disc golf, from the types of plastics, discs, throws, courses. I mean, the list goes on, and most people just don't have the time. However, if there is one thing that you should know the fundamentals for, that thing is putting. Salut, bonjour, and welcome back to Just Disc. Whether you're a beginner or you've been playing for a bit, it's really important to know the fundamentals of putting. It's what's going to save you the most strokes, and you definitely don't want to start any bad habits that may be harder to break later on. Now, if you want a more in-depth putting tutorial, make sure you check out my Disc Golf Putting 101 video. It'll give you a more in-depth analysis on the specifics of putting. All right, enough about that. Let's get into it. Now, for the first fundamental tip, this is one that I repeat on a regular basis, and that is that you gotta give yourself a good 5 to 10 minutes to practice putt before you get out for your round. I mean, I really don't care, if you're a beginner or you're an experienced player. Every single person that plays disc golf needs to practice putt. The idea is that you are building that muscle memory for the day. You're waking up your mind. You're seeing how it feels coming off the hand. You're feeling the release point. You're seeing the disc go in. You're adjusting for the temperature, the wind, the precipitation. So you really gotta kind of train your mind for the day. And if you give it 5 to 10 minutes, I guarantee you're gonna save some strokes. The second fundamental putting tip is to make sure that you use the right putter. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, first off, don't be using a mid-range or driver. Their profiles are not the same. They don't catch into the chains the same. They actually spit out once in a while, and it just develops some bad habits. Instead, use a 1 to 2 speed putter. Stick with that same putter over time so that you can build and train your mind for that disc only. Don't be switching between discs, and stick to that 1 to 2. Don't go to the 3 speed because that's a little bit more for experienced players, and even then they don't always use the 3 speeds. Now for the third fundamental putting tip, it's the fan grip. You got to be using this grip. All great disc golfers use it with slight variations. Your fingers are flared on the back, your index sits wherever you like it, and then your thumb just rests on top. But basically, this grip is sacrificing power for that consistent, precise release, because that's really what you're looking for so you can get the disc in the chains. And the fourth fundamental putting tip, it's an easy one, but some people don't know this. You're now putting the disc and not throwing the disc, so it's a completely different motion. Putting, it's the fan grip, you're pulling it towards you, you're facing the target, and then you're pushing it out with a bit of flick at the end. Whereas a throw, you're forefinger gripping it a lot tighter, and you're pulling it back and coming through. So remember, you're putting and not throwing. The fifth fundamental tip that really ties into the fourth fundamental tip is the push and spin style of putting. What I see a lot of new players have trouble with is they're using their wrist the entire time to putt, which creates more inaccurate style putts, and they don't use any part of their body. So what you need to do is you need to make sure you're engaging your lower half, you're kind of pulling back and pushing forward, pretty much a bit of a weight shift, which adds power, and you are adding a bit of spin, but not too much. So a general rule might be you start at 12 and you spin to about 2. So with that body movement pulling back and then releasing and timing it right, you're gonna see some incredible putts. Whereas if you just use your hand, you're just gonna be inaccurate and you're gonna struggle to get the disc to the basket. And the sixth and final fundamental putting tip is to just take your time. Don't let other people get in your head. Don't let the pressures of other people make you rush. Get in that routine, get those feet grounded, get those, practice putting motions, take 15 to 20 seconds or however long to build that confidence, because we all know that disc golf and a lot of other sports, they're very mental, and the slightest thing can, make you miss a putt. So take your time, and if something gets in your way, something gets distracting, restart that routine, and that way, there's no excuses for not making the putt. All right, so that pretty much sums up the putting fundamentals. These are the basics, the standards to becoming a better putter. And if you want to know more, make sure you check out my Putting 101 video. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to Just Disc. Love creating these informative videos for everybody. Merci beaucoup et à bientôt.